Helldivers 2 player numbers are dropping. Is the game in trouble? But there's been a bit of discussion around this where people are saying, hang on a minute, the player numbers are at the lowest they've been since launch. Is the game dying? Is it falling off a cliff? What is going on? Well, don't worry, we're going to break all of that down. We're going to take a look at some news hot off the press about patrol spawn changes because they're a bit broken at the moment and they are going to get fixed, which is good. And we've got the CEO talking about assault rifles, but we've got a lot to cover in this video, so let's just get stuck into it. This is the current Steam DB chart for Helldivers 2. So this is just players on PC, so it doesn't include PlayStation players, so you can probably chuck another 40,000 onto this figure. But at the moment, you can see there's 92,000 people playing Helldivers 2. This number will start to increase because it's only early evening over in the UK, and this generally gets a little bit higher, then it tends to plateau off. Anyway, you can see we had a massive peak of 458,000 players, and it has slowly declined since then. But why? But why? But why? But why? Well, there's a lot of things going on here with the game. Of course, we've had the controversy with Steam, with the PSN, and all of that stuff, which is currently still ongoing. We still don't have the game relisted in the regions it needs to be relisted in. And there is also this massive debate going back and forth. Is it Steam that imposed it? Is it Sony? Well, it looks like the publisher obviously has forced Steam's hand. So it is a little bit murky. It's not Steam hasn't just gone out there and done it of their own will. Sony is... those countries cannot be sold. The game, cannot be sold in those countries because you cannot sign up for a PSN account. So Valve have gone, well, hang on, Sony, they can't sign up for a PSN account, so we can't sell the game in that region because they won't be able to play it. So it's a bit of both, but really, Valve, if they're acting, and they definitely are acting to remove it, they have to do it to cover themselves, but also it's Sony's fault. Whatever way you look at it, it is Sony's fault. It's not Valve. It's Sony's fault. Like, be under no illusion there, guys. Anyway, these player numbers, what's going on? Well, there's been a lot of stuff going on with the game. Like I said, the PSN stuff. You've got the crazy weapon balance. You've got the very limp warbonds. They can feel, I always get caught up in the hype. Okay, wow, it feels great to use a new weapon straight away. But then after a few minutes, you start to realize, actually, this isn't that great. And I really like the video I made, like looking at the new warbond weapons recently in the Polar warbond, where I was like, hang on, this actually feels okay, the tenderizer. But then you slowly start to realize it's actually not that good. And you're like, okay, this isn't great. The plasma weapon is literally the worst weapon in the game. The SMG is fine if you want to take the shield with you as well, or you just want to roll the SMG because you're just, I don't know, gangster. But it's okay, but it's kind of limp, isn't it? The incendiary impact grenade is okay, and then the pistol, the verdict, is actually, I quite like that D-Eagle. It's pretty good. But anyway, it's not been a great warbond, and these warbonds haven't really contained weapons or stuff that have set the world on fire, that have made us go, oh my god, we really need this, this is insane. So people don't care about the war bonds. This is a problem, because the war bonds are monthly game updates where new content is added in the form of weapons, primary weapons and secondary weapons, and players want new weapons that, well, because they're fun. Also, we get new stratagems every now and again coming through major orders or coming through just game updates as we're playing through the game. Remember when the Quasar got added and the mech, which was a really strong start when the mech got added. We've not had any of those kind of events recently, so I think that is also contributing to less players. The big thing here is, though, guys, it's burnout, and it's burnout of playing the same thing over and over and over again. Now, the game launched in February. We're now in May. There was a poll that they put up on the Discord server a while back, and they're asking people, like, what do you want more of? And the overwhelming response was, we want more missions, we want more maps, more new stuff to play on. It's not so much about constantly adding weapons, constantly adding stratagems, which, don't get me wrong, that is a high-ticket item. That's going to make people want to come back if they're insane. I mean, look at the Quasar cannon. When that dropped, it was insane. It was like, oh my, you can like charge this massive bolt of plasma up and fire it. This is insane. This is actually insane. Like, what a weapon. Great design. And the mechs were the same, even though the mechs are kind of a bit crap, but the way they were added to the game felt awesome, right? Everyone was running around in mechs. Great addition to the game at the time. Although, obviously, as I know, balance is not particularly great with the mechs, and they are generally pretty broken. You tend to still kill yourself quite often with them, and the aim is really strange for the mechs. Like, it's super weird, but you never really see them. You might see them on eradication missions, but beyond that, yeah. And you're not going to see them against automatons, because they are literally going to kill you. So what we've got is this issue of the average player base. This is you and me as well included, right? Yeah, we might sit here and like, oh, go on about the finer details of weapons and whatever. But really, we want new biomes. If I could speak. We want new biomes to play in, because we're either on a desert planet, a jungle, or a snow planet. I mean, is there anything in between? Well, there's kind of like the green planets, I guess I'll call them. They look like the Scottish Highlands. Yeah, what would you even call that? No, tundra's snow, isn't it? But whatever. That's kind of it. You don't really get anything else. We're not fighting in cities. We're not fighting in totally different terrain, which I think is what the game needs, because it's very samey. It's getting a bit boring. It's getting very boring, if I'm totally honest. We need more enemies. We need more maps. We need more objectives. This is what we need. And we need more major orders that are a bit more engaging, instead of just kill 2 billion of this, try and defend these planets. It needs to be tied with new gear as well. I think that would make a massive impact and pull players back in. Because I think what they've actually managed to build here is a game that is got fantastic gameplay. The weapon balance is a little bit strange, and I'm sure they'll find their footing at some point. The warbonds are being made too frequently, and they're just not interesting enough. I mean, even on a very basic level, the Polar Warbond doesn't contain any freezing or ice or slowing weaponry. You think it would, because it's the Polar Warbond, but it's got none. In fact, it's got flame weapons. Makes no sense, you know. It's like, what? It's like they're just shoving stuff into the Warbonds that they've got ready to go. And of course, remember, we had the issues with the Verdict only refilling half of its ammo, half of its magazines from an ammo box, or well, a reload box, I guess you could call them, whatever. When really it should get 8 back, but it only gets 4 back. Well, the ammo changes made it so that all weapons, primary and secondary, get full mags back when you pick up an ammo crate. But the Tenderizer and the Verdict don't, because they older versions. It's weird, right? So I think it's just a culmination of everyone is working a bit too hard. This is a massive storm, this game, and they're trying to like capture it. They're trying to keep it going, but they do need to sit back and just chill and try and get some of the basic stuff sorted. We'll go on to that in a second, because I think there's an interesting topic on that. But just to sum this up, I do believe what we need critically and really fast is new maps to fight on and new biomes. The enemies, yeah, we need new enemies. We know the Illuminate are coming at some point. When they're added to the game, I'm sure there'll be a lot more people coming back and being interested. Because there's only so much you can keep playing through these missions, right? Because it's the same thing over and over again. It is fun, don't get me wrong, and this is just a co-op horde shooter, but it needs to be spiced up a little bit, doesn't it? And I think the easiest way to do that is going to be with new planets to play on, right? You could also argue and say, well, they should probably get rid of a lot of the negative modifiers on missions. Like the AA modifier is so annoying. The fact that you only get 3 stratagems instead of the standard 4. It is super annoying when that happens. Maybe there could be an objective on the map that you could destroy, like the AA guns or whatever, and then you get your extra stratagem back. Again, I'm not sure how that could work, because how would you select a stratagem unless you pre-select it at the start of the game? I don't know. Like, it's programming problems, whatever. I'm not a programmer, but that would be cool if that was actually in the game. Anyway, I think critically, they need new maps to play on, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me there. All the other stuff is kind of adjacent to that. You've got to keep the game fresh. New maps, new enemies. So I picked this up on Reddit, and this is, maybe this is like the Reddit view on the game. So this is, obviously it's the meme, and you've got these persistent issues with glitches, network stability, and balancing are really affecting the enjoyment and player count. Yeah, they are, right? And then someone goes, well, hang on, I'm still having fun. And they're like, well, anyway, I really love the game, and I'm concerned about the long-term longevity. All this sub does is whine. Now, there are 2 things going on here. The first one is it's actually good if people are moaning about your game, because it means that they're not, they're invested in your game. It's not that they don't care. It's that they do care and they're invested in your game. The thing is, though, especially with places like Reddit, focusing too much on things like weapon balance, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference to the average player. Things like crashes definitely are. The game crashes, it's bad. And at the moment, it's very hard to play with friends. Like, you'll end up getting disconnects all the time, which isn't great. And then that's piled on top of the fact, maybe there was, like, I don't know, you play with 2 other friends, so you had a group of 3. There's patrol spawn problems at the moment, so you're getting loads more spawns, and you're just getting destroyed. It's like, what? That's not fun. These are problems, and I do completely agree that they're going to put people off the game. But I do think this view is a little bit like, it's a bit like the elite players versus the general average population players. And like I said, I honestly believe, hand over heart, what they want, and what we all want really, is new maps and new enemies to fight. That's going to spruce up the game. And also new missions and new objectives on the map as well. That would make a big difference to the game, I think. Rather than like little changes to weapon balance and stuff. Although, don't get me wrong, that is essential and does need to be fixed. And obviously the crashing issues need to be fixed as well. This comment sums it up off Reddit. So if people complain and show their criticism for a game, that is still people being invested in said game. The worst that can happen to a live service game is that people lose all interest and fully move on. Being mad about the state of the game is still loving the game at its core. And it's true. I mean, if players become apathetic to the game, they just don't care. And then that's when your player base really is very difficult to bring back. Helldivers, I don't think it's a problem with Helldivers, right? Because players will just come in when they see new content. And it also has to be said, I should have covered this a little bit earlier on in the video, but people play other games. And I've got to be honest with you guys. Me, right now, today, when this video is done, I'm going to play Homeworld 3. I absolutely friggin' love Homeworld. It's so good. I'm going to go and play that game. I play different games. I don't just play the same game over and over and over again, relentlessly. You know, take breaks. This is the beauty of Helldivers. It's not this game where you need to chase after things and catch stuff up. You can jump in, drop out. Some days I might play for 40 minutes. Some days I might play for 4 hours. It comes and goes when you want to play, when you don't want to play. Yeah, that's how gaming is. And I think that's actually a massive bonus for Helldivers, because it doesn't have this like ingrained grind where you've got to constantly be playing as you're going to miss out on stuff. And I think a big testament to that is the fact that the battle passes, i.e. the warbonds, don't actually run out. They're not FOMO, they're not time restricted. You can always work on them at any time, which is massive, and I think is great. This drop in, drop out nature of the game is fantastic. So what about assault rifles? Well, over on X, this user says they also need to evaluate the place of certain weapons in the weapon sandbox. ARs, for example, have absolutely no place, even if you aren't super meta concerned like me. They hit like modded BB guns and serve zero purpose. And the CEO actually responded to this and says, I agree on assault rifles. Their representation has become diluted. Now, this is, I think, interesting because assault rifles, like at the moment, you guys are seeing footage in the background here of me playing. It's on Helldive difficulty, but I'm using the Diligence counter sniper. Incredibly good against the bots, this is. You can take everything out. I mean, absolutely everything, apart from Hulks. You can still kill Hulks if you shoot them in the back, but like, you can just take everything out with them. It's fantastic. Obviously, you can't take Factory Striders out, and it would be more difficult to take out gunships, but you get what I'm saying, right? Really strong. Assault rifles, though, yeah, I think I totally agree. Like, where do assault rifles sit in this game? You know, shotguns are really good close range. They put out a lot of damage really fast. I guess the sickle is probably the best assault rifle just because of its constant uptime. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the Liberator is okay. I used the Liberator recently. It's fine. I don't think it's insane. But things like the Tenderizer on paper should be insane, but they're not. Maybe they'll get a buff. But yeah, I do agree with this. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. What do you think they could do with assault rifles? Because it is a bit weird at the moment. They're almost like... It's the... I guess the main category of weapons, but it's also like the most... forgotten? Weird. Twinbeard gives us an update on patrols. He says this: Yo divers, don't want to make this an announcement. I just want to mention that we've conveyed to our esteemed colleagues some of the details and concerns on the state of patrols and spawn rates for missions with 1 to 3 players. That they're too hard, spawn rates are too high or bonked, which leads to frustrating gameplay when playing in teams with fewer than 4 players at the moment. We know a lot of you feel the need some checking into. Thanks for the heads upping. Or if, when we know more, we'll holler. Okay, that was for some reason very difficult to read. Sometimes Twinbeard, the way he writes, it's a very, I guess, Swedish way of writing in English, or I'm just an idiot and I can't read it, but it doesn't really flow how my brain expects it to flow, so I read it off and I'm like, well, anyway, I'm not editing that. I'm just going to leave it in the video because that's the kind of quality content creator I am. But anyway, this is good news, right? So they're going to look at these patrols because there are loads of enemy patrols, and against the bots, it's massively amplified because they will engage you and they will drill you from range. And those goddamn heavy devastators with the shield and the laser, which doesn't even have to be looking at you and still shoots you, is absolutely frustrating as hell. There is a new poll over on the Discord. Now, they've actually deleted all the other polls, and I think it's because they were put up by the old community manager who's been fired, so I guess they've just deleted all of his stuff. I don't know. But anyway, this is the new poll. It just says, what do you think of Polar Patriots so far? It's great. It's okay, but I want more stuff in each warbond. It's okay, but I'd like fewer warbonds and more patches. It's okay, but the items don't fit the theme. I don't like it. Well, there's a 6th option here, isn't there? It's not the quality I expect, and I think that's what I would vote for, but it's not even an option. So I think out of these, I'd probably vote for it's okay, but the items don't fit the theme, because they really don't, do they? There's no polar ice stuff in it. It's just like, yeah, the armor sort of looks like it belongs in the snow, but beyond that, it doesn't give you any benefit to being on the snow. One of them's even got the ice spikes, hasn't it? The armor I'm wearing in this gameplay clip. And, well, it doesn't stop me sliding, or it doesn't make me sprint faster on snow or whatever, which would be cool if it did that. So what do you guys think about this? Yeah, I think this is a bit weird. But this actually opens the whole debate about the state of warbonds and how frequently they're being added to the game. Would you agree with me that the quality needs to really be worked on for them and they need to have a bit more impact? And does that mean they're going to have to delay them? Could you be okay with a warbond every 2 months? Would that be a bit too long? Maybe every 6 weeks would be a good sort of middle ground. I don't know. But I think if the next warbond is anything like the previous one or the current one, there's going to be a bit of an issue then, because I think players are starting to get really turned off to the warbonds, and I think that could be an issue long term for the game. Alright guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. And like I said, I'm still playing and enjoying this game and loving it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And I'm expecting some sort of an update this week, possibly to weapons, and that could be pretty funky. But yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. Alright guys, thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you lovely, lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.